Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jay, and this is Conversations on Purpose for the Global Coaching Academy. Let's go. Big warm welcome to my friend Miss Leanne. Welcome to the show, Lee.
Thank you, Jay.
Awesome to have you here, my friend, and really looking forward to dive in a little deeper with you, find out about your journey with Little Gumnuts and the Coaching Academy. So for those of you watching that don't know, Lee is a graduate of our year-long diploma in mentoring, coaching and interpersonal facilitation. She is a primary school teacher with over 30 years experience in early childhood and primary school teaching here, which is fantastic. And she has this wonderful little early childhood center called Little Gumnuts, and is very much holistic and heart-based in her approach to teaching, loves nature and incorporating that into her teaching, which is just wonderful. And I think it's an awesome service that you are providing, Lee. So let's start there. Tell us firstly about your inspiration for Little Gumnuts and your passion for nature and incorporating those two things there.
About 10, 11 years ago, I was studying a postgraduate qualification in early childhood, and the whole nature play sort of opened up for me, and I became aware of the possibilities and the opportunities, and just got to see what it looks like just from, reading and research and watching different nature schools and forest schools overseas. And it just sparked something in me. It just felt right. And then at the time I was teaching, so I left the classroom and I went to start up Little Gumnuts, which has been a journey and still is. It had rewards and wins and challenges and hurdles. It still is.
Mm-hmm.
But then I got the inspiration to start Little Gumnuts. And I started, it was for little ones from 3, and ultimately I'd like to advance it to involve kindergarten and after school, and there's lots of potential.
Huge potential, Leanne, and I know Little Gumnuts, and I know also the challenges you've had just with the red tape and everything that you've come up against, and you just kept on going with it, which is wonderful. And it's such a beautiful little place, and I love what you're attempting to ground there, something really new and something again heart-based and holistic, where you're really taking the individual child and their needs into account. And I just love the potential of it and where you're heading with it. I just wanted to check in there. What actually sparked the nature thing? When you were studying, was that a module in when you were studying, or did it just come into your awareness to the forest schools? How did that actually come about?
It was one of the units, and it was just mentioned. It was just sort of part of the course, and
Right.
something just sparked in there, and that just set me off. And then there's the nature part of it, but over time, it's like you say, holistic. I've realized the importance of integrating the self-esteem and the self-awareness into it as well, and nature complements all that other as well.
Wonderful. And yeah, I'd love to talk about that as well, Lee, because I'm wondering how your extensive background in education has influenced your coaching, and maybe vice versa, how the coaching has also influenced the ways that you teach as well.
How coaching's influenced, I suppose, with nature. For me, it boils down to connection. We know that we're connected to nature, and you see the connections within nature, and you can feel the connection to nature. I think we all have that. We all have that connection, and we can feel it when we're really out in nature. So for me, that connection, and even in my teaching and in work, that connection is really one of the primary things. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because I just spoke to a lady recently on the show, Belinda McCauley, who's a graduate as well, and she works with adults, but her whole thing is healing through nature and facilitates meditation and healing in nature workshops and all of that, and spoke a lot about connection and reconnecting and how a lot of people really resonate with nature and they find themselves in nature and they find that innate connection that we have that can be lost so easily in our busy lives, in our 9 to 5s, and getting caught up in all the busyness and the bills and all of that. So yeah, it's wonderful. She spoke about that. And of course, kids seem to have that naturally,
Mm.
and to incorporate that into a teaching setting as well. I feel, just talking off the cuff here, is because for me, I feel like that could be helpful for some children, because being in nature and being in that connected space kind of puts them in a receptive space, maybe to learn in a different way or in a deeper way. What's your experience on that?
Yeah, it is so rewarding and so beautiful to see what happens when children are in nature. It's like something in them comes out, the little leader in them comes out, the innovative one, the creative,
The builder.
the yes, it just emerges out of them, it just naturally. And they are, I see with the little ones all the time. It's so natural for them, that connection. They
Yeah.
just, I also teach a couple of days a week in a regular school, and we were talking about trees, and I said, "Oh, let's hug the tree." They didn't think it was strange that we were hugging trees. They just flung their arms around the tree and gave it a
Of
hug.
course.
That's
Yeah.
children. Lovely.
Yeah. Yeah, I
It's,
love that.
yes.
Yeah, it's so interesting. There's many things we can learn from kids, I feel, just with their innocence and wonder and openness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
definitely.
what inspired you to undertake the diploma, being that you had all this education already yourself and you'd studied a lot, obviously, to be a teacher. So what inspired you to jump on board with the mentoring and coaching?
It was actually during the time, it's kind of the tail end of studying that postgraduate qualification. And a friend told me about the course, and she was very enthusiastic about it. And I didn't think about it. I just thought, well, I just jumped in. I was like, yep. And I signed up like the same day, I think. It was just an instinct. I don't know. It was just, oh, I'm going to do this. It just felt right. And I didn't realize how much it would complement what I did. Um, it sounds like such a cliche, and I can say it all the time, but honestly, I feel the course shaped so much of what I did. It the business part of it. It sort of that's what I loved about the course. It worked on that, the practical skills as
Hmm.
well. So we worked through some of that, which is necessary when you want to start up your own business. But also just fueling that inspiration, fueling that enthusiasm, and the support. Like it's genuine, the support from the facilitators. Something sparks and made my heart sing. And I could see it and sense it from them. They were just as excited and just as happy and so supportive. There was
Hmm.
no like, it was just, they just held this like, yep, you've seen it, you've got the vision, you'll do it. They didn't even say those words, but it was just held in what they held, which that's unique. I don't think you would get that in many courses. So to me, what I loved was the combination, the heart, but then there's also the practical, which we need.
Yeah, absolutely. Important. You can't have one without the other, really. So, yeah, absolutely. And we hear that a lot as well, Lee, is that people's experience of coming into coaching, maybe having this preconceived notion of what coaching and mentoring is, but it's usually something completely different. And also, it can be a bit of a stretch for some people, but we do get feedback a lot about the facilitators holding people in their highest potential and without any doubt at all, knowing that they can achieve their goals, their dreams, and whatever it is uniquely to them as well, because everybody is unique. And we really love to cater to all walks of life and what they actually need. So it's not just this generic, cold expression of the teachings. It's how can we bring this to each individual person so it works for them, because we understand that everybody has a different learning style and different needs, so it's catering for everyone.
And that in itself is a unit almost, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm curious to know what exactly or how exactly have the skills that you learned in the diploma influenced your teaching, the ways that you teach? How has it influenced you there?
I find one of the big ways is that questioning, and it's something we learn quite a lot in the course and discuss and practice a lot. And as you go through the course, you gain more of the skills and more of the understanding of it. And then once you leave the course, it still keeps flowing, and then you find your own way within that. So that questioning I found, and not to do it in a fake or a false way or throw out the typical coaching questions, it just becomes natural. So that's the one that I use often with the little ones and parents and colleagues. That listening, just stopping and listening. You know, sometimes children will say something and people almost finish it for them or add on something and don't allow them just to say what they wanted to say. You're just finishing it off for them. So that listening and building, well, I'm still growing in all of this. I'm definitely not there yet. And there's still, I can always acknowledge there's lots of room for growth and improvement. But having that compassion or kindness when relating with people and little ones.
Yeah, I feel so healing just offering a new experience, because there is something in the course, a quote I think in the course, it's something along the lines of being truly listened to is so close to being loved that most people don't know the difference. Because it's so interesting, exactly like you're sharing there with the little ones sharing, or parents, whatever, people finishing sentences and not really being present and listening. So that in itself, providing that for someone just in your day-to-day living, of course, that's a skill we develop when we're coaching and mentoring. It's really important. Yet just to really embody that, and it can be such a healing and new experience for people. They feel like they're getting loved because you're like actually paying attention and listening and present with them. So I could just feel how nice that would be as well, to give the kids space to actually consider what they're saying, and some space to express it.
Exactly. Express themselves the way they feel to, and not what they think they should be saying. Or so, yes,
Yeah,
that's.
nice one.
Mm.
Nicely. Yeah, the active listening, huge part of the course, and of course it is one of the ICF core comps as well. So a big part of becoming accredited as a coach is making sure that we are listening actively during sessions. So yeah, nice one. I'm curious to know, Lee, how the skills and tools you learned within the diploma have influenced you personally and spiritually. I know you spoke a little bit about this, how it's impacted you professionally, but what about personally and spiritually?
I found that a component of the course was looking at ourselves, and sometimes something will come to mind that we learnt about on the course, so it's still there, and I can still go deeper with it. And as we know, we can always just go deeper and deeper. So in that way, I see those, well, what would they be? The part of the course helping, and that would be personally and spiritually. Just reflecting, the course offers space to have a lot of reflections.
Yeah.
So I'd say that's where. And with family, again, it's similar to the professional, listening, holding that space for people, and for myself. Again, still a work in progress, but just being aware of those skills, that's already a big start. And then we learn to reflect and review and, oh, I'm practicing better listening and being kinder and more compassionate to myself or to other. And we just keep working. We keep working with it. The course doesn't end. It just keeps flowing. We just can stay connected to it and, yeah, keep growing.
Yeah, absolutely, Lee. And you may have heard in the course that who we are is how we coach, which I seem to say a lot. So that's why there's such a big component of the year-long journey is this introspection and the inner work, the reflective practices that we put in place. And I know you are involved in personal spiritual development work as well outside of the GCA, so familiar with some of those practices. Yeah, absolutely, because a big part of coaching is that we want to bring our best self to the client, so to help them grow and actualize their potential and achieve whatever it is that they're looking to achieve, get clarity on whatever it is they're bringing. And so a part of that is, yeah, working on ourselves so we can be the best coach and mentor and mirror that we can be, so we can support them in the best way. It's not just, oh, I put my coaching hat on now, do a session, and then I'm someone completely different outside of session. I mean, for some people that might be the case, but with GCA, it is a holistic approach where we're more about embodying the principles and embodying the lifestyle that a coach is and a mentor is, which is all about love and service and upliftment and active listening and caring and kindness.
Yes, and that's very clear. That comes across very clearly in the course. And it's a privilege to teach and to coach and to work with people. We're in helping professions. Teaching is a helping profession, and we don't always remember it or we don't realize it. It is a privilege, same as coaching and mentoring. It's a privilege because we're an influence on people, and that's a huge responsibility as well. Not to be frightened about it, but just to be mindful.
Yeah, absolutely. Responsibility, that was jumping out at me when you were speaking there. Absolutely. It is a responsibility and not something that we want to take lightly.
Yes, exactly. It is. It's a privilege that someone entrusts their child's life and their child's education and their heart when you're coaching and mentoring in your hands. It's not something to be taken lightly at all. And that's where the course is so nice, because you're given the skills knowing that you'll be able to hold someone's heart and be sensitive and caring. And it's not just about a bunch of questions you're ticking off. There's so much more to it.
Yeah. Yeah, love that, Lee. Absolutely. Awesome that you got that from the course, because that is something that we really try and bring, that feeling and that care. And of course, there's a massive component in the course of ethics as well. There's a whole module just on ethics and being ethical and the responsibility in working in the helping profession. So, yeah, absolutely. So how do you feel that you've transformed as a leader and as a coach since completing your studies at GCA?
I never saw myself as a leader, and the course helped me recognize that. And a few years ago, I did a master's degree in early childhood and leadership. And that was interesting because there you're doing the research and you're getting all the knowledge. And that also made me realize that the GCA complemented that so well, because that brought in the heart.
Mhm.
And you can have all the knowledge in your head, but having that in the heart is very beneficial. You can't really go without it.
Yeah. I mean, you can, Lee, and there is a lot of that. I mean, there is a lot of that in education in all industries is even with employees in big companies is they're just a number, and we come back again to that disconnection or the connection that you find in nature, and there is so much of that missing out in the world, just a disconnect in the world. So yeah, it's not prominent. I mean, a heart-based education or heart-based practices isn't really something that's super encouraged in the world, because there's a lot out in the world that's just about profit, prestige, greed, getting things done at the cost of who cares because I'm going here, and all of that kind of stuff. So I feel anybody out there, no matter their sphere of influence or industry, that is bringing heart into whatever it is they're involved in is a win for the world, is a win for humanity. It's just a win all round. And yeah, it really doesn't matter, again, your sphere of influence or how many people you know. It is having an influence, because it's all the little people that are bringing heart to things that ultimately will make a big difference on the globe.
Yes, that heart, it's like that heart to heart, that then you have that connection, which we started with in the beginning. Yes, it's so easy for people to jump and work themselves up into leadership positions. And I wonder if they realize the responsibility of leading people,
Mm.
and caring for them and caring for their well-being and their hearts. And often you don't see that, which is sad, because that can crumble morale, it can crumble organizations or groups, and it just ripples out. So
Yeah.
yes, something the GCA did, bring in that, show and demonstrate that type of leadership, and then all the skills we've just been talking about, those flow into that leadership, the active listening, the kindness and compassion, um, the way you question people, even to
Mm.
just help them get to a point of resolution, or yeah.
Yeah, it jumped out at me there, Lee, when you said it all has a ripple effect, and it's so true. And whether you're coming from a place of fear and selfishness or coming from a place of selflessness and love, no matter what you're doing, no matter what we're doing, it's having a ripple effect. And I just also just it just dropped in there that so important and wonderful that you are in early education, because the kids are just like sponges as well. So it's some of those key points, turning moments in our life when we're younger, that can set us on a trajectory that perhaps if we had had a more loving experience, we would have gone this way. But there's a big responsibility with teachers and people in the care of children. It's such a responsibility and such a special role that is a privilege, because we're having an impact on, especially on kids who are like sponges in that early age. So to be able to engage consciously in that and really consciously be aware of the responsibility and the impact that we can have, and work with that in our awareness, then we can have a positive influence.
Yes, it's beautiful to see how receptive they are to what you teach them. And I work with little ones, so I'll teach them something or tell them about something, and they've never heard it. Obviously, they're only 4. It's like,
Yeah, that's sweet.
wow,
Yeah.
do this talk about the self-esteem, or the just aspects of self-esteem and feelings, and there's no resistance to it. They just take it all in. So it's a huge responsibility, filling those little buckets, with
Yeah.
knowledge and perspectives. And there's a lot, yeah, there's a lot that they have learned in their 4 years and that they are going to learn, but to be able to give them a foundation for learning, and to be supported in it with these skills that we can gain from courses like the GCA course. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. It's so true. I like how you said you were filling the bucket. It's so true, because they're going to be learning something There's transmissions coming from everywhere in the world, and just so sweet to hear you that you're talking about self-esteem and feelings and all these sorts of things at such a young age. Oh, how beautiful that would be to have even in mainstream education, or as much as possible, to really educate these kids about self-love, self-care, all of these things, as well as all the practical and logistical things that we need to know in the world as well, just to have that heart-based approach. Really sweet. When you were sharing there, I could see them. They're like sponges, just soaking up whatever they're getting given. So great that they're coming into your environment there and they can soak up some love, Leanne, and stuff about self-esteem and all that good stuff.
Yes. So that's something that I've learned. So the coaching course is, is coaching and mentoring adults. But as a teacher, especially in early childhood, you can use those skills with the little ones. And I've learned to in a way, it's tone it down, to simplify it. So they're still getting the same as what we'd be giving adults, but it's just more simplified in a way and done on their level. But it's also like it helps both ways as well. I can't really explain it, but it's just having those skills and being able to simplify something and to take it to that level. It complements as well. When we work with adults, it's different.
Yeah.
But you can do both.
Yeah. They're life skills, Lee. It doesn't really matter the age that the person is. They're life skills, and yeah, you can adapt them to work in any situation with any person, really.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, well said. Yes.
Did you always know that you wanted to be in the helping profession in some capacity? Did you know you wanted to be a teacher, a coach when you were younger growing up? What was your experience?
Yeah, I was one of those little girls that played teacher in school from when I was tiny.
Really?
Never been, it's never been anything else for me.
Huh.
I've always wanted to be in education, and a lot of people, not a lot, some people, or many probably, feel stale in their profession, or they want to change their profession, or they've had enough of it. But I've never felt that. I've wanted to evolve in the profession, and I've wanted to try new things, or like when I started Little Gumnuts. But it's all still within education, and ultimately would love to move into some adult education as well within the teaching. Yes, we get to a point where we have enough knowledge and wisdom that we can share with others, moving into the profession.
That's nice to hear. And I ask that question to most people on the show, and I don't really get many people who are like, no, I knew that I wanted to do this when I was young, and they've done it and they've stuck it out. Most people are either like, oh yeah, I kind of knew that I wanted to do this, but I just went on this massive tangent and then I came back to it. Or they're like, no, it just came out of nowhere and my heart's singing now. So it's nice because I know there are some people out there like yourself, Lee, that just knew when they were young, no, this is what I'm here to do, and really followed through with that. So that's wonderful.
Yes, yes. And it was the same thing with Little Gumnuts. I always just feel like, especially when there's challenges and hurdles, it's just, I can't not do this. I tried at one point to go somewhere else other than teaching. For a few months, I thought, no, I'm going to do cake decorating with a friend. And it was just not for me. I did not at all. I just couldn't move away from it. It's just, yeah, it didn't feel right.
That's a sign, my friend, meant to be there. It's like, you're not leaving the education system. We need you. Come back. But bring some cake. Bring some cake for recess and lunch. Yeah. So on the challenges, Lee, what is the most challenging thing about the helping profession? So your educational role, but any mentoring and coaching that you're doing as well. What do you feel the most challenging thing is?
I don't think a lot of the helping professions are valued. Teaching doesn't feel like it's valued. and other helping professions as well. I don't know if people realize, in fact, I don't even know if teachers realize the value, the importance of their profession. So maybe it starts from there. Some of the issues, well, the value, and just there's issues in relationships, I suppose, issues with expectations of management, of parents. Those are challenges. Raising children, I think nowadays is very difficult with social media. And
How different it is now
yes,
than a
so
decade ago.
it's not easy for parents, and sometimes that clashes with the school or with teachers, and sometimes there is a lot of disharmony in relationships within a school and between parents and teachers and with children and parenting, and it can be quite a messy. Yeah.
But yeah, very challenging to have so many kids, again, from different backgrounds, cultures, and different experiences, managing all that. Yeah, that just feels like the whole thing. The relationships could be challenging. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, relationships. Yes, it can be, and it is a lot of the time. But that's where it's important to build that connection, because even though you may think someone isn't looking for it, or you may seem that someone doesn't want that connection, when you start making a connection with someone and show an interest or care, something does blossom out in them or lights up in them that they will also respond to that connection, and then that just builds, and then you can build stronger relationships with people, and that's the foundation as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's so interesting that in those relationships that are seemingly disharmonious, there is always some middle ground there if parties are willing to be honest and just unpack. And a big thing that we share in the coaching course and just generally in the other work that we're involved in is finding the sameness within all the differences. And I feel like that is what trips a lot of people up. They see all the differences and the problems, yet it comes back to the namaste experience, which is, hang on a minute, the same life in me is the same life in you. God in me, if you want to call it God or source, and life in me meets, honors, greets, and loves God in you. And yeah, of course, there's going to be challenging people and situations. Yeah, if we can focus on the sameness, I feel that is a bridge that can be built to harmony, especially when there is struggling to find middle ground and resolution with things in such a complicated world.
Yes, I love that sameness, and that helps build empathy. That's something
Yeah.
I meant to mention as well, is having that empathy for people, real empathy. Put yourself in someone else's shoes. How does it feel from their point of view? And that's a shift when you can develop that empathy and act out of that empathy.
Yeah, and when you're doing that from a genuine place, Lee, that's felt from the other party, and there can be a softening and an opening again, because with the empathy or truly being listened and cared for, that's so close to being loved that it is healing for people, and they're obviously going to be, for the most part, more receptive when there is when you may be butting heads about things. Yeah,
Yes. And I think the key in that is the genuineness, being
yeah,
genuine.
yeah.
And again, that's where the course comes in. No, it doesn't teach you to be genuine, but it guides you and helps you and encourages you to be genuine and authentic.
Indeed. And again, that's why it's so heavily introspective. It's just a journey of self-discovery that we take people on. And yeah, bonus, you become qualified to be a coach and mentor. Yet it's a huge unraveling and journey of into self and finding out what we're about. So getting closer and more in touch with who am I actually? and what is my authentic expression. And anyone that's undergone any level of healing, I feel, Lee, there is organically a compassion that is born out of that, because we have got in touch with our own pain and our own challenges and our own discord. And it's just through that, again, who we are is how we coach, but just who we are is how we actually are in the world. So it's like when we've done some of that work, it's easy to see that in other people and have compassion and empathy. It's when we've seen those places in ourselves, the darker places in ourselves, and come through things.
Yes. And I really feel that most people, or maybe everybody, wants that. They may not realize it, and sometimes it's covered up in so many layers and thick skin. But down, I think we're all looking for that, and the course facilitates that beautifully.
Thanks, Lee. We are all looking for connection. It comes back to that connection, doesn't it? It's like, yeah, all of us the same on the inside. What about the most rewarding thing about being a teacher, a coach and mentor, working with clients and also students, kids?
One of the rewarding things, just from a personal point of view, is that personal growth that we go through. And then working with young children is seeing people light up and seeing people lighten up as well, just when they are being heard. And when there is that empathy and that kindness, that's very rewarding. And with little children, it's to see the learning and hear the learning and feel the learning that they have and witness it. That's extremely rewarding. And we see it with adults as well. If you're working with them for a period of time, you'll see that growth and evolution in them, and it's incredibly rewarding.
Wonderful. What advice would you have for anyone considering a career in the helping profession?
I'd say you need to really feel it in your heart. It's got to light you up and make your heart sing. It can't only be an intellectual decision. And often people in those professions, unfortunately, they're not on the highest pay level, so we don't go into it for the money, which doesn't mean you shouldn't be. Which doesn't mean you should be underpaid and not paid what you valued. But in terms of going into the profession, I think you just need to feel it and just must light you up, make your heart sing.
Great advice, my friend. And I'm glad that you mentioned the pay thing there as well, because I forgot to mention this when you were talking about the responsibility of teachers and maybe that they're not valued. And a lot of people in the helping profession, I feel that's very true as well. It's like some of the most important roles in our society aren't looked upon as roles of great responsibility that need supported and championed. It's just another job. Being a teacher of our kids, that's not another job. Nursing, not just another job. There's all of these things that are really important that are going to influence our next generation, but they influence our society greatly, and are things that I feel could be more esteemed in our society. So I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yes, definitely. That's true.
Yeah. Yes, you guys work hard, big responsibility, and yes,
It is.
not necessarily seen in that way, in that light. So, my friend, I like to finish with a question about favorite quote. But before we do that, you've had a big journey, my friend, with all of this in education, Little Gumnuts, your own centre. And just wondering, have you got anything else that you'd like to share about the course, anything you gained, or just anything generally about your journey that you'd like to share with people watching?
I think what I've gained, I've shared a lot during this. I think that was clear in our conversation. But when it comes to the course, just do it. That's what I did. I just did it. And quite a thinking kind of, can be a bit of a mental person, but with this, it was just clear. You feel it and then just do it. Don't make a list or don't think it through. Just do it. Just jump in.
That could be our slogan, but Nike already has that. But it works for this as well.
Yeah, exactly. Simple. Just do it.
Nice. Thanks, Lee. And yes, this final question is, have you got a favorite quote or mantra that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah. Um, I've always think, oh, I'd love to give some flowery quote, but this is a quote. I literally read it on Belinda's wall when I was doing the course myself. And I've had a bit of a love-hate with this quote because it kept me stepping forward. And sometimes I wish I'd never read that quote, but it has been a guide for me. And it's set yourself huge, scary, audacious goals and go for it.
Oh, I really love that. Can you just say that once more for everyone, please, Lee?
Set yourself big, scary, huge, audacious goals and go for it.
I haven't actually heard that or seen that on anywhere in Belinda's space. So that's brilliant. I'm going to use that one. I love that.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, nice one. Well, thank you very much, Lee, for being on the show. You know, we love the work that you're doing out there in the world and appreciate you spending some time with us today and chatting a bit more about your journey.
Well, thanks, Jay. Thanks for listening and inviting me on. I'm happy to share. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend, and thank you everyone for tuning in. Lots of love. This is Conversations on Purpose, and we will see you on the next episode.